Hello everyone, this is Dirk Swart. Last week I posted a question and I asked how far is too far, and I tried to answer that as best as I could. And this week I decided, after I got a question from someone, Dirk, why start on such a heavy, why start on such a topic like sexuality as one of the things that you kind of need to get proper management over before you step into a serious relationship. And I thought I wanted to answer that first. And you know, the end result and the end focus of this will always be to help people to have more fulfilling relationships. There are three basic things that causes the most havoc and the most destruction in most marriages. And although these three things are different areas, they are all tied together with communication, yes. But these three areas are, in the first place, finances, in-laws, and you've guessed it, sex. Sex is one of those things that causes the most problems in marriages today. And that's why I kind of feel like I have to do a little bit of a origin explanation of what sex is and where it comes from. One thing I feel people really miss is they forget that God created sex. Sex was not a human's idea. It was not as if Adam and Eve came up to God one day and said, God, you won't believe what just happened. We were just kind of wrestling and we got stuck in a good way. God created sex. God thought up sex. So the word says that God created humans and he said it was good. So God created humans and all our moving and fitting parts, and he said it was good. So we can make this conclusion that sex was created by God and it was created to be very, very good. If we really look at the way that the world has presented sex to us, sex is always practiced on a very physical level and only one level. I'm referring to people that don't believe in God, or they want nothing to do with God or spirituality, and they practice sex in a very specific way. They approach sex pretty much like animals, and that's why I refer to that as dogsex. And I'm sorry for being blunt or sounding crude, but that is the way that the world has sex. They think it's all about the physical pleasure. Now, did you know that the group, statistically, that have the most fulfilling sexual lives, the most fulfilling marriages, they are Christians, funny enough. So a lot of people think that Christians are these boring people, but statistically, they are the people that have the best sex. Interesting. The reason for that is if you take into consideration that we are a spirit, we are spiritual beings with a soul area, your will, intellect, and your emotions, and all of that lives in a physical body. Now, that is the reasons why Christians have better sex, because they realize that they are three-dimensional beings. They are having sex on three levels. So returning to the world again, they think it's all about physical pleasure. So that's why they feel there's no problem with sleeping around, having as many sexual partners as possible, because after all, sex is just a physical thing. And then you have couples that say, but we really love each other, so there's the soul connection. They are still only having sex on two levels because they fail to realize that sex is one of the most spiritual acts in all of existence. Spiritually speaking, sex is one of the most intimate forms of worship. If you don't manage your sexuality properly, you hurt yourself at the deepest level possible. Sex is a spiritual act, and Christians enjoy the most fulfilling marriages and the most fulfilling intimate lives because they have sex on three levels. They have sex on a spiritual level, on a soul level, and they enjoy the physical pleasures after that. And that's why they will always enjoy this more, and this will be a more fulfilling experience for believers. We need to get a proper grip and realize that our sexuality is part of our spirituality. The word says that we should present ourselves as holy and pure. And the word says that our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit, for the Holy Spirit lives in us. If sex is such a spiritual act and you are dreaming to have that kind of intimacy where you have sex on three levels, instead of having dog sex, we'll be having Godsex, the way that God intended sex to be incredibly fulfilling. This is something that we really need to get a grip on, really need to learn how to manage well. We need to realize that our sexuality is part of our spirituality, and that is our relationship with God. Settling into that, realizing that what we do with our physical bodies is very important. God created sex to be something incredible. What we do in a marriage as believers will always be superior to what the world does and experience. So I hope I could expand the way that you see this whole thing a little bit. I hope you realize how important your relationship with God is for you to have an intimate marriage one day. Take care, and please leave me some comments. Remember to subscribe, and once again, let me know if there's any questions that you would like me to have a go at.